Good afternoon, Sajam. As a Canadian, I apologize for our commentary. Okay, bye.
Hey, a lot of people seem to think that I didn't like Toryukin commentary, and I was mean to it. Sajam. I like Toryukin's commentary. I thought Toryukin's commentary was good. I said it was fine in the video like 3 or 4 times. In the video, I said it was fine. I was like, I don't know why people thought it was bad. I didn't mute it, right? If it's bad, I'll mute it. And I was like, I didn't mute it. I thought the commentary was fine. They did a good job. When I got on the mic in the beginning, it was very similar to what they're experiencing, these Toryukin commentators. When I first started doing commentary, all everybody said when I got on the mic is, this guy sounds like Ultra David. Where's Ultra David? Get this guy off there. Fuck this guy. This guy's fat. I hate him. That's all they said when I got on the mic originally. And I think compared to what people said about me back then, they were way nicer to the Toryukin people. They did a great job. I think, to be honest, the Toryukin commentary sounded like most fighting game commentary. Like, most of our commentary is good because it's people who play the game, they're familiar with the game, they're familiar with their scene or whatever. I don't get what the problem is. I was mostly saying that it was funny to hear Canadian accents say things that are other commentators' phrases. Like, when Yive says Mango Sentinel, I was imagining a Canadian saying Mango Sentinel in a Montreal, like, French-Canadian accent. And that shit was making me laugh. But it was a hypothetical. It wasn't even Toryukin's commentary. I realized that if I don't say something, if I say anything, even remotely neutral, people seem to be like, oh my God, Sajam was so rude. To be honest with you, I think people are just mean about new commentators that aren't the commentators they're used to listening to, it just makes sense. I feel like compared to most commentators, most people are pretty nice in comments, in YouTube comments or Twitch comments about the things that I say, but people still talk shit on me. You can't let it bother you. I love reading negative comments about myself. I've read them on stream before because it makes me laugh. My favorite comments were at CEO. James was being so biased towards Americans when Dual Kevin was going to make top 8. He was like, the Dual Kevin is our last chance. I'm making top 8 here at CEO. Is it gonna kill? And I was like, whoa, James. It's not our last chance for making top 8, all right? I'm on Momochi's side because Momochi gave me a free t-shirt when I went to Sky Studio. Now look, I'm not saying that because I hate America or something, and I hate American players. I was trying to balance out the bias of James Chen rooting so biasly for an American to make top 8. So I was like, nah, bro, I gotta fucking balance this shit out and root for someone else. And if you remember, the very first Capcom Cup, I was saying I thought America was gonna smoke Japan. Then, the next Capcom Cup, I was saying Japan's gonna smoke America. The thing is that I'm not really biased towards Japanese players or US players or whatever. I usually just am biased towards who's good, if that makes any sense. I just make guesses based on what the math says people should win, which isn't always accurate, but it's, just what I do. Just like I go out of my way to thank Drunk Reaper Matt for dropping the Twitch Prime. Thanks very much. I don't try to be biased either way. When I'm on commentary, I'm usually, most of the time, very neutral. And I only get excited when the play is good from either player. Unless Urian is playing, that's a little different. But I try to not be biased. Most of the time, I try to get excited for both players evenly. There are times where people who they thought I was mad at them or something, like players will be like, yo, bro, I thought you were upset at me or you didn't like me or something. Like Rob TV told me when after Combo Breaker, I think it was, I commentated his match with Problem X. It was super close. And Rob TV was like, I thought you were upset with me because of the Twitter stuff. But when I heard you commentate on my match, he's like, you said nothing but positive things about me the whole time. And I was like, yeah, dude, I'm not going to talk shit on anybody on commentary about anything. I was like, Rob TV, first of all, I'm a fan of yours. I think Rob is dope. And second of all, when I'm on commentary, I'm always going to do my best to sell the players as much as I can. It's just how it is. My job is to sell these players on all their biggest strengths. I'm not going to lie and be like, well, I think that this player is the best player in the world if they're not. But I'm going to sell that player with all the things that they're good at, right? And at that moment, my job is to sell Rob TV as someone who can beat Problem X because he can, and he almost did. One thing that fighting game hype commentators, I always talk about how our hype commentators are S tier. We have excellent hype commentators, and our analysis has to do the catching up. One thing is our hype commentators are really, really, really biased towards the US. When the US players lose in a top 8, you can just feel them deflate. They're just like, oh, well, our grand finals is going to be 2 Japanese players. It's like, dude, no, I shouldn't have to be like, yeah, it's gonna be 2 Japanese players, woo. I'm like, you need to get excited, this is your job. You gotta get excited. It's not my job to do all the heavy lifting over here. I'm like, come on, bro, it's gonna be sick. They're always so biased for players that are outside of Asia. That's fair though, if you're crowd reliant. Doesn't matter. You should be able to get excited. As long as the matches are dope and the players are great, you gotta be pumping it up. You gotta talk about why it's great. And not only that, but the international matchups can always be interesting too. Tasty Steve can definitely sell anyone. Absolutely. Tasty Steve can sell you about anybody in the world. Tasty Steve got most excited at Evo for fucking Rongchu. This guy Steve was screaming for Rongchu because he was playing a bear and he was like, you guys like this fucking bear, let's go. And then he flew that guy out to a bunch of events. If I notice on commentary that my co-commentator has deflated their hypeness because there's not a US player or a Western player in there, I will go extra big about like, yo, this motherfucker's so good, oh my god, to try to like build it up and make them get back into it. Because you can feel the energy dip and it's like, you can't have that. This is the grandest stage we have. You gotta pick it up. How do you get excited for Knee versus insert player when you know Knee is about to destroy them? Is Knee about to destroy them in pools? Because if it's pools, it's a little different. If it's semis, it's one thing. If it's top 8, it's gotta be, the narrative becomes, this guy Knee is a fucking Terminator. He's undefeatable. Oh my god, he is the best player in the world. He's incredible. You can't stop him. It's got to be like that. That's how you sell a match like that. Remember when JDCR was beating everybody and they called him the robot and how he was undefeatable and he was just computing and destroying? That's what you have to do with a player like that. If there's a player that is undefeatable, you have to sell them as a Titan. So that way when they crush people, it's like, Jesus Christ, he can't be stopped. And if he does lose, it's holy shit. This motherfucker is unkillable and he just got shot and killed in cold blood. Because that is the storyline. You have to figure out the storyline and sell whatever the storyline is. Anyway, that is one thing to bring up about commentary and everything like that. I'm definitely one of super big chillin'. I'm a fan of everybody. So I try to be big and pop for everybody's great moments, you know? I always want it to be big. No matter who they are, I want to sell their biggest strengths. You don't have to lie. That's one of the important things to sell. You don't have to lie and say this player right here is the best player ever if they're not. But you should sell whatever they're good at or strong at or best at or what they can do and be reasonable about it. Your job is not to lie and fabricate, but your job is to make their biggest strengths sing. And if they have weaknesses or things to watch out for, point them out so that you can talk about them. Tasty Steve has definitely sold him some Dogra. Dogra! He loves Dogra's name. Tasty Steve is good at selling almost anybody. He can sell you on anything. Like, yo, man, you see that right there? That shit is crazy. And you're like, yeah, it is.